all big and huge. But if you're a black natural girly, then you understand, okay? I wash my hair and it's clean. I had to cook. So, yeah, take a shower and everything and just relax and unwind for the day. So, yeah, my hair is a mess, but it's okay. It's all right. But hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Come in, come in, come in. So, happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to you. I don't know why it sounds like happy birthday. But I wanted to do this video today to just discuss some things that's been on my mind because that's what my channel is for, right? I feel like I look like the thing from The Simpsons with the blue hair, the guy, but whatever. I don't care. I'm a natural black girly and I'm very comfortable in my skin. So I hope it doesn't alarm anyone that's on my live tonight. But I'm trying to get this lighting right. I don't know why it seems like it's darker. But anyway, you guys, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday evening. It's night. Happy Monday night to everyone. I wanted to get on here and talk about something extremely serious and dear to me. Okay? It's just all the unalivings. Like it's hard to hear. And I think it's more because I am a black girl, brown girl, whatever. It hurts. It hurts to hear stories after story after story about unalivings somehow. Okay, the mystery unalivings of my people or people who look like me, and then there's no justice at all. It just hurts. I'm thinking back on the Tamla Horsford. I think her name was Tamla Horsford. Tamla Horsford. That's the lady who was the only black lady at that sleepover in 2018, 2019, something like that. And was her case was ruled like a accident. Now let me get into it real quick because I'm gonna just hit a couple subjects and talk about them real briefly. But what's up, Daniel? Daniel Cole, what's going on? Okay, what's up? What's up? Make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I wanted to talk tonight about just these unalivings that have been just hurtful to me. And I am a Cancer sign, so of course I am sensitive about my okay? So, but Tamla Horsford, she was the woman, the black woman who was at the sleepover with the white women and some of their men. So this was 2018, 2019. She went to a sleepover because it was one of the ladies' birthday and they wanted to have an adult sleepover. It was a lot of ladies. Matter of fact, it was the ass of them, okay? So she went over there. She got there. When she got there, it was like 8:30. It started at 7, but she wasn't even the last one to get there. Like a couple people came after she got there to the house. So they had a ball. Allegedly, she was smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana. She was drinking tequila. A lot of people said that she wasn't sloppy drunk. But the next morning, around 8ish, the lady whose house it was, her husband had stayed the night there, or her boyfriend had stayed the night there at the house. And also one of the other ladies, her boyfriend stayed the night at the house as well. Now, I thought that was strange because have you ever had a female, like a sleepover, ladies, and then some of the men spend the night? That's weird. That's super weird to me because things can, people could show out because they're man there. Things can happen. The man could be a little flirty or something. You never know what you're going to get when you got situations like that, right? Even if they're grown, it doesn't matter. So anyway, the next morning, The aunt of the lady whose house it was, she woke up and she found Tamla outside, face down. Okay, pay attention, face down on the ground. And she said she immediately just started praying for her. And then she went upstairs and told the lady whose house it was, her and her boyfriend, that Tamla was down. She said that Caribbean woman is downstairs on the ground, face down, outside. And I thought that was very strange that she said that Caribbean woman, because Tamla moved from the Caribbean when she was 11 years old. So I don't know. Maybe she had a strong accent or something. And they just call her the Caribbean woman or something. I don't know. No one else called her the Caribbean woman but the auntie. So anyway, they go down and they check and they see her on the ground. And it wasn't until almost an hour later they called the police. And once they call the police, the police, they're on the phone with the police and they're telling her, they're already giving like an explanation of what they think happened, even though, so they say, they weren't around her. They went to bed before she did. So most of the people who were at the party that night, they're saying that Tamla was the last one up. She wanted to stay up so she could smoke and drink. She was still partying and she stayed up by herself. Weird, strange, very strange. So anyway, to make a long story short, the police accepted that she had it was an accident, that she fell. First, the police told the family that she tripped because the backyard was like had a double porch. So you got the porch on the ground that was flush with the ground, and then you had the second level had a full balcony as well. So at first the police told her family, Tamla's family, that she tripped over something and fell face down on the ground. Well, once the autopsy came back, it showed that her wrist was broken. She had lacerations in her chest. Her neck was broken, and of course she was face down on the ground, and they said in a sleeping position. Follow me now, follow me. So the family didn't believe it. How can she fall and break her neck and break her wrist if the ground is flush, if the porch is flush with the ground? Like, what would she have tripped over that would have broke her neck and her wrist and all types of stuff? So then the police came back and said, no, she fell from off the second balcony. And so the family is super suspicious at this point, and they don't believe anything the police is saying. So come to find out, the lady who owned the house, her boyfriend was a probation officer, and I guess he had access to like police information or like police documents or something. Maybe he worked in a police station, because the town they lived in Georgia was a very small town. And actually, the population of black people was 4% in that town. But Tamla's husband had got a job and in that town, and so that's why they moved there, because they were living in Florida. But they moved there to that small town in Georgia because Tamla's husband had got a job there. But the black population was only 4%. So anyway, so the family's fighting every year. They're fighting, trying to get the case open, and so the police closed the case a couple of times. And it was only every time the case was open back, because it was open back twice. It was only open back because of public's the public was demanding answers to what happened to her, demanding a thorough investigation. So the police opened the case back up twice because the family was able to get the public to open this case up a couple times, to make a lot of noise and keep the case open. And then, of course, the case died out. And then, of course, the case just shut back down. So 2 years, I believe it was 2 years after Tamla unalive. The lady who housed everybody was at that night. Remember, he was he was a probation officer, but he worked in office, like he had access to like police files. He was fired from the police station because he was found tampering with evidence, allegedly. So if the case is closed, why would he be tampering with evidence? And I always thought, when I first heard that case, I always thought that it probably was one of those men, probably was trying to be touchy-feely, okay? Because a lot of times stuff happens, especially with alcohol, okay? And it probably got too far out of hand, and they took it there. It could have been that guy who's the probation officer, because a lot of times when people feel entitled, you can't tell them nothing. They feel like they're on top of the world, and you can't tell them nothing. So anyway, so he got fired from tampering with evidence to a closed case. Now y'all make that make sense. Anyway, past that story, let's get into the Nolan Wells case. Remember, they said they found Nolan Wells face down and he was in a sleeping position. Why do they say when people are found face down, deceased, they're in a sleeping position? That's weird to me. Like, that's the second time I've heard that, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It's very strange. I don't know. But anyway, also in the Nolan Wells case, they're harassing the family because the family just want answers. That's all the family is asking for. They want to know what happened with Nolan Wells. They want stuff to be investigated. There was an autopsy done on him from the state of Mississippi, and the family wants to know the details of that autopsy, and they haven't been able to get any details about anything. So now it's alleged that it's information going around that Nolan Wells' family is holding back his cell phone, and his cell phone has been requested, and he's holding back his cell phone. I mean, the family is holding back his cell phone, and I don't believe that, because what we know is that her law firm, Miss Christine's law firm, the law firm that's representing her, they requested that to have a investigation of the phone, and like with a group of people. Like, they wanted to have their own private investigator investigating the phone, and then the state of Mississippi have their people investigate the phone, and everybody's in the same room at the same time. That's what the family asked for. And the family was told that they can arrange that by either the police department or whoever. I'm not sure who agreed to that. And then a couple of days later, allegedly, a letter was sent out to them demanding the phone. So they agreed to one thing, and then they sent a letter out demanding the phone. Now, they haven't come up and gave the family no evidence about anything. Christine originally filed the police report in a McDonald's parking lot. Not at her house, not at the friend's house, okay, not at the police station, but in a McDonald's parking lot. I find that very strange. Very strange. And the fact that the friends, everybody was drinking on the island, right? Everybody was drinking, allegedly. Everyone was drinking heavily. So you mean to tell me, where were the adults when you got all these underage people drinking heavily on boats, driving boats, and intoxicated, young, dumb, driving boats, intoxicated? Where were the adults at? Now, Warren slipped up and said his mom was on the south side of the island. Thanks for letting us know that, because we didn't know that tidbit of information. So we know he was intoxicated, he was drinking. So who brought the alcohol? That's what I want to know. Because an adult would have had to buy the alcohol for these all these millions of people that was out there on that island, right? Because we heard it was hundreds, like 300, then we heard thousands, like all these weird numbers. But who was the adults that were purchasing the alcohol for these underage people, young adults? Why haven't they been arrested? Because those children were out there, or those young people were out there driving boats, getting into fights. Okay? It was what, 2 or 3 fights that's alleged to have happened there? Young people driving boats, drinking, driving while isn't that a DUI? Why hasn't anyone been arrested or locked up for that by itself? That's weird to me. Very strange. Very strange that no adults have been held accountable for that mess. Okay? That right there alone should at least got somebody to go before a judge. But if you think about it, I don't know how many judges they have there in that city. But you know Warren's stepmom was a judge. And so if she's a judge, then you know she got connections. So it would be very hard to trust a case, the ongoing investigation, when one of the friends, okay, who may be considered a suspect to family or to the public, their stepmom have access to people in high places. Of course you ain't got to worry about the case. And then in a lot of cases, if you don't have a lot of public uproar, then the cases will just go, they'll just sit down, they'll fall by the wayside, they'll just go away quietly. See, we have to speak out. We have to talk about these cases. And I guess it is a race thing, because when you're in a race, you think about it, right? Do you want to win the race? Both sides wants to win the race. Everyone wants to win the race. But you got to have players playing the game in order to win the race. So what side are you going to be on when it comes to all these races? You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking about skin color. Because there is some white people that's putting in the work, okay? Staying on this case, this Nolan Wells case, and other cases faithfully. Talking about all these recent hangings of black people, with the latest one being in Raleigh, North Carolina, where there was a Caribbean festival or something, and then the next day, and I find it real rare that this black man, and we don't know if he was Caribbean black, African black, American black, we don't know. All we know is this is a black man, was found hung in the middle of like downtown in a very like well lit area for everyone to see. His body was discovered around 2:33ish p.m. So nobody rode past and saw this man hanging clear as day from a tree. And then I watched this interview of this guy who interviewed the guy who called the police. And the guy who called the police, he said the police were in no rush. He said when he reported it over the phone, they were in no rush. They were just like the dispatcher was like, "Oh, okay, is he alive?" And he was like, "I don't know if he's alive. He's hanging in the tree." What kind of mess is this? Is that being told on regular TV, on the regular news? I don't know because I haven't watched the news. But I think it's very strange that that's why social media people have to get out here and continue doing what we do. And we got to keep saying these people names because these cases will just fall down and be closed. And then these families are just left empty, no justice, been given the runaround when all they want is to find out what happened to their loved one so they can have peace. Because think about it, if someone committed a crime, someone needs to be notified. Someone needs to be punished for that crime. But back to the Nolan Wells case. So the family is getting a lot of heat. I see a lot of information that's coming out saying that potentially a lot of the pictures from that day, from that 4th of July, are not real. They've been doctored, allegedly. And I mean, it's easy to have access to AI and, utilize it to your benefit and then push the picture out there. It's a letter. Someone wrote a letter like in a journal or something stating what happened, but we don't know who the person is. There's been a guy who's supposed to have been out there on Horn Island on July 4th. He made a couple like social media posts. One post in particular, he said it's crazy when your parent asks you how was your day and they don't know that you could have your day was so crazy that the things you did would have gave you a minimum of 10 years. And he was one of the boys, I believe, that was in the picture with Nolan Wells. It's just a lot of stuff. Of course it's hard to know what's real and what's not real, but it's a lot of information going around and it's not enough uproar from the investigative team. They're out here worrying about a cell phone when we want to know what the autopsy report shows. Because I'm thinking if the original autopsy, if it came back and said it was an accident, if it came back and said Nolan Wells drowned, then why haven't we heard that? The fact that they're holding on to that evidence lets me further know that that's not what happened to him. Because the only way it would be an accident is if he drowned. And if he didn't drown, then there's the suspect out on the loose. And someone needs to be arrested. But the police took their time. Okay, they wouldn't work with the Marine people that night on July 4th. They wouldn't work with them to go out there and search the island and find out where Nolan was at. It wasn't till the next day when Nolan Wells' college friend, he came out there. He contacted Nolan Wells' dad and told him, look, I could gas up the boat and we can go out there and look for him. And they went out there. They didn't find him. This was on that Sunday, July 5th. But on July 6th, supposedly Nolan Wells' body washed up on shore face down. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. In a sleeping position, like they say. That's crazy. Anyway, did y'all hear about the school that I forgot which school it was? There's some college. There was a whole big drug trafficking thing. Allegedly, okay, they're saying the fraternity, the Greek fraternities, two of the Greek fraternities was allegedly trafficking the cocoa, okay, bagging it up. They had evidence that they were using the people who join the fraternity, the ones who get beat and everything, and then they have to go through the ceremony to actually let them in. What do you call it? The frat boys? Anyway, the frat boys. Allegedly, the frat boys were like bagging it up. I don't know if they were cooking it, but they were bagging it up and selling it to like the people on campus. I forgot which college that was, but that just happened today. And they calling it a trafficking. So you know it got to be big time when you talk about trafficking. Okay? We talking about huge numbers. I'm like, who's going to that college? Is it El Cheapo? What is his name? El Camino? Whatever. I don't know them gangsters like that. But who is going to that school when you're talking about drug trafficking at a college? But the college is saying that it didn't happen on the college grounds. It happened in one of the Greek fraternity houses. Because you know those Greek houses, they usually don't be on the campus. They're usually on the outside of the campus. But I thought that was considered college campus. Because the fraternity is part of the college, right? So wouldn't that still be college property, whether they're on the grounds or not? I don't know. Strange to me. I don't know. The college is saying, nah, we ain't got nothing to do with that. We're not accepting that. And then one of the men who was in the pictures, they showed two pictures of two different guys. One of the guys, they were like, looked like he was about in his 40s or 50s. And then the other guy, you could tell he looked like he probably was in college. He didn't look young, but he looked young enough to be in college. But I'm thinking, there's something going on here. There's something else going on. Okay, let me find out them fraternities are actually part of some corruption. Or you know how you think one thing is one way and it's actually something different? What do you call that? It's a name for that. Like say you got a laundromat, right? But it's actually a way to wash money or something. Or say you got a club and people are actually, dealing out that club. That's what it's kind of giving. Is it a real fraternity? Because they said the people who were like getting, the people who are trying to get access in the fraternity, they have to be, what is that word called? Dog, it's like I could hear it, but I can't hear it all the way. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When people trying to join a fraternity and they go through all these things, they get beat, they have to clean the floor with a toothbrush, all types of stuff like that. Well, they said that the news was saying that those people were they were packaging and selling it, as well as the people who was running the frat house. I'm thinking that's not a real frat house. We know what that is. It ain't no frat house. Okay? Remind me of Tariq them from Power. They got a whole operation going on. I don't think that's got nothing to do with school. Y'all might want to go shut that fraternity down. Okay. And I feel like that is a distraction. And actually, in Virginia, this past weekend, I believe that was Saturday or Sunday, there was like a school powwowing in Virginia somewhere. And then in another state on Friday, there was a powwowing going on. And then here in Houston, I believe that was Thursday or Friday. A man was like in the see-through fishnet outfit with this rifle, pound the people who were driving by. And he injured like three people. This It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. But we have to continue to stay on folks' necks about these situations, because there's some laws that need to be put in place. I don't know if I don't know. It's so much going on. But someone's got to talk about it, and then we got to be protected as people. Like they say, no justice, no peace. If we ain't got no justice, we ain't got no peace. Okay? We going through something. Like, it's always something with our people. It's always something we're going through. And it's going to continue unless we continue to stay on their behinds. We have to keep talking about these cases. That's what I wanted to say. That was my main point, but I wanted to bring up those situations so we don't forget about them, because it's even more than that. It's too many to even count. Okay, of cases of hangings this year alone. It's almost like once a week now. For the past 2 months, it's been like three hangings that I know of. And it's been at least 5 unalivings that I know of that have all been ruled a suicide or accident. I know this is not a popular topic. I know it's not entertaining to people. It don't make you want to laugh, doesn't make you dance. But we're in 2026 and you hear the stories I'm telling you and you think it's time to dance and laugh. I mean, you can laugh to keep from crying. You know, you can have a good time. But I suggest protecting yourself, however that means for you. Okay? Getting some type of training, however that means for you. Protecting your children, because they're never too young to learn. Please believe it's a lot of children out here that are young and are able to protect themselves in a lot of different ways. And we got to wake up, okay? That dancing and BS, partying and everything, like, keep that to a minimum. You better watch your surroundings, okay? Because it's crazy out here. It's a lot going on. And you don't want to get caught up in the midst of it all. And I don't want to have to be on here reporting about it for you, okay? And staying on the case. I hope y'all hear me. I hope y'all understand the seriousness of it. You don't have to like wear it on your shirt. You don't have to speak about it with people. Matter of fact, I would say don't speak about it at all. Like, it's only certain people, probably 2 people, that I would even have a conversation like this with, face to face, or even on the phone. And I'm talking about including family and all. Like, you can't talk like this to everybody. People don't want you killing they vibe. But what I want is for my people to understand, and for everybody, not just my people, like my family, or like black people, everybody, like, wake up to what's going on. Okay? Take this life seriously, because It's a lot going on. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. Oh, and the Tupac case. So with the Tupac case, today was the first day of the trial. One of the ladies who was talking to Tupac, her and two other ladies, I believe, pulled up next to Suge Knight and Tupac when they were at a light, and they were talking to them when allegedly Keefe D in the white Cadillac pulled up and started pow powing on them. But one of the ladies from that night, she testified today, and she couldn't remember a lot. She said she believed the car was white, but she can't remember the style of the car. She said that she was pulled up. Her and her friends had pulled up next to Suge Knight, which wouldn't make sense because it's not three lanes out there in Vegas. So she wouldn't have been able to pull up beside Suge Knight. She would have had to pull up beside Tupac. I don't know. She drew out like a drawing explaining where she was at and where Suge Knight was at, and it didn't make sense to me. I don't know. I guess because I'm not in the courtroom, so I really can't get the full effect of what she was actually saying. It just didn't make sense. She said that they were talking to Suge, and I'm thinking, why they ain't talking to Tupac? Even though Suge Knight is a big, handsome dude, okay? I ain't gonna take it away from him, okay? Matter of fact, if I didn't know who Tupac was, I would probably want to holler at Suge, you know? But, I don't know. The way they were pulled up seemed like they were on the side of Tupac, but then how would the car, the white Cadillac, come up and start pow powing and they wasn't involved in it? I don't know. I don't know how they knew to get out the way unless the light changed or something. I don't know. I didn't understand that. So she went on the stand today and testified, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got about the Tupac case today. Of course, that's going to go on for about 4 to 6 weeks, that case, and then the judge is going to do the final ruling. So instead of the jury coming back with what they believe, the jury is going to say whether they find him guilty or not guilty, and the judge is going to make the actual determination on what the penalty will be, for Keefe D. But anyway, I don't know. That's the updates I have. I spoke what's on my mind. I know these videos are not getting a lot of coverage, and I hate that. I really hate to see like my my views go down when I talk about these subjects here. Well, when I talk about the cases like the Nolan Wells and the hangings and everything. And I mean, it is what it is, but it's on my heart, and this is my channel, so I know I have to do what's right for me. I have to speak up for what I believe in and how I feel, and this is my platform to express those feelings and everything. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to find some subjects for us where we can be happier and y'all can laugh and cut up and everything. But thank you so much for watching. If you come this far, leave me a heart emoji. Emotion. I'm sleepy. Leave me a heart emoji. I don't care what color in the comment section. And yes, you guys, be safe.